Hello and welcome to round 8 of the ARC Championship Series here from Lago Maggiore in the heart of Italy. Final round of the ARC Championship Series. It's coming down to the wire. The constructors is close. The championship for the drivers is close. It's going to be a great one today, and there's $100 on the line for the champion here today. I'm joined in the commentary booth by
Kobu GT here. What's going on, Lateral?
Oh, there's a lot going on here for the ARC drivers, but for me, not too much. But I'm just happy to be here, calling most of the season here for the ARC Championship Series. It's been very close, and I'm happy to have joined them along the way.
Yep, we're on the final round and we're getting heated up for the final battles. There's a lot on the line, a lot of positions available here for everybody. We've got fight for championship in the drivers, fight for constructors championship, and fight for fourth place between a lot of the drivers who are here today.
And just as you say that, we start qualifying. So let's go on board here and cover our drivers. Right now we have Team 1, which is Team Bull featuring PKMZ30 and Azeron GTS. Azeron not able to make it here to the last round, but they're in the Alfa Romeo 4C. Lemon Tea Racing with Lemon Pen and Tom Spencer TT, both of whom are not here with us today for the last round. Team Honey Badger featuring Dark Reef Slug and Dance 303 and Lexus RCM. They're fighting for the Constructors title. MatCon Racing featuring Mattwing and Defcon AC here in the AMG GT3. They're both fighting for a fourth place in championship. We have Nissan Red Bull Racing featuring Bauk21 and CJ2041. Bauk fighting for the championship, and the Red Bulls currently fighting for the lead in the constructors. Bree Racing featuring Alex Rogers and MySave joining the Porsche 911. And the Beatles, CRubennnn and John Swifts, both of whom are not here to make it with us today. Now, we take a look at the current championship standings here. We see Bauk21 at first with 230 points, and in second place we have Dance 303 with 227 points. There's only 3 points separating first and second place in the championship. We have CRubennnn third with 226 points, who again not able to make it with us today. He apparently has some demons he has to face, and we hope he recovers soon and comes back to us here in the championship. Right now we have Mattwing, Lemon Pen, Defcon, PKMZ, Thomas Bisser TT, and Alex Rogers. We have 4th through 9th place who all could take that 4th position in the championship. That'll be a really exciting battle to watch on the track. And then right, we have GT Logo in 10th, Dark Reef Stark in 11th, CJ in 12th, Sable in 13th, and Asterzone in 14th. And if we look at the constructors, right now the Beatles are currently in the lead, but neither of them have shown up to this race, so they're not going to score any points. That means either Nissan GTRs or Team Honey Badger, or possibly Re-Racing, if they score well today, could take the Constructors' Championship.
Yep, the Constructors Championship blown out of the water with the current attendance today. Now second, third, and fourth looking to take that first place podium for the team.
It'll be very interesting today to see what happens. 3 teams fighting for the constructors, and as we mentioned earlier, we have about 5 drivers fighting for 4th and 2 drivers fighting for the championship. But on board with the former championship leader, Dance 303, as he starts his hot lap here in Italy. We know he's going to be trying for this championship. He's led the championship for most of the season until the last round, where Bauk has now outscored him by 3 points. So it'll be a very close race, as both drivers I know really want that championship.
Yep, with the current cars and how it stands, the Lexus is going to be really strong in these technical corners. Not very great on the straights. The GTR will definitely have a better advantage in the straights here, but there's not very many of them to take advantage of. So Dan's and Bauk, they're running, roughly the same pace, and that's going to be key to who can come up with a better strategy to finish today.
Dance 303 there at the second split on his first flying lap with a 101.1, which is very fast. He is giving it today. He wants to make sure he qualifies on pole so he can pull away from Bauk, because basically the championship comes down to who finishes in front of who. If Bauk finishes in front of Dan's, he wins. If Dan's finishes in front of Bauk, Dan's will win. So both drivers are really gunning for it here in qualifying to give them as much of an advantage as they can on track. As you see him coming across the start-finish line any second now, it looks like it's going to be very quick 1:55.3. Good lap from Dan's. PKMZ crossing the line with a 1:56.2. Bout 21 now crossing the line with a 1:56 flat. Alex Rogers going second place now with a 1:55.6. Matt Wing, we're going to see cross the line here in just a second. It's going to be a 1:57.2. Def Con, who's a little bit behind his teammate there, but he's going to be crossing the line soon. The AMGs are strong at the beginning of the season, but they're not too hot towards the end or the middle of the season. But we're going to see Def Con here. He's going around the last corner here at Lago Maggiore. On the front straightaway, going to cross the line with a 1:55.9. Great lap from Def Con there.
Yep, Def Con is a really good driver. He did very well at the Red Bull Ring all those weeks ago, and just kind of hasn't found his consistency.
Yep, the AMG was very quick at the first round of the championship at Red Bull Ring, but since the third round and afterwards, it's both the AMG drivers haven't quite found their pace. But they had a little bit of a point in the midway through the season where they decided to try a one-stop strategy on the mediums. Only really worked for Matt Wing at Nürburgring, where he finished third place. Since then, they've both gone back to the two-stop on softs, and they seem to have get better results because of it. Hopefully, they come back next year with slightly stronger. As we're going to see Dan's 303 now. Going, I believe he might be purple here on his lap. I wasn't too busy paying attention, I was too busy talking. But he's going to come up towards the last corner here. We'll see as he crosses the line if he can improve on that 1:55.3. Was very wide on the exit, but managed to hold on to it using all the curve on the exit. And it's not going to be faster. He's already a 1:58 across the line. We're going to see PKMZ improves a bit with 1:55.9. Let's see Alex Rogers if he improves. It's purple right now. 1:54.8 from Alex Rogers.
That is a blistering time. Getting into the 54s is extremely hard. You essentially have to be perfect. And not to mention, he was essentially on full fuel load on that one. That means he can go definitely faster than that.
Yep, again, Alex Rogers is a driver who replaced one of the four other drivers in the championship, replaced G-Thanks Obama in that Porsche 911C, and since he replaced them, he's been very strong this season. And as we mentioned, he's currently, I believe it was 7th or 8th in the championship because he started late, so he didn't get points from the first round, but he's currently fighting for 4th position after only racing, I'd say, about 4 or 5 races of this championship series.
Yep, he's performed very well, getting plenty of top 5 finishes under his belt. So he has been the one to watch, and I definitely look forward to seeing him race in the next season.
It'll be very interesting here as we're about halfway through qualifying. Currently at pole position, Alex Rogers. Dan's 303 in second. Def Con AC in third place. Good lap from him with a 1:55.7. PKMZ in fourth. And Bout 21, your current championship leader, in fifth place.
Now it's very, very hard in that GTR to get the right cornering down, and one of the disadvantages for the GTR is because it's so heavy, it just loses that tire wear. It just loses it very, very quickly. So one of the advantages the Lexus is going to have is the tire life, despite being the same compound. So I think one of the advantages Dan's got right now is he's probably going to have maybe 1 or 2 laps on Valk in that GTR, just off of tire life, I believe.
And to add on to that point, I was there watching the practice session earlier as you joined in as well. One thing I noticed is both Dan's and Bauk were in that practice session. Dan's is regularly hitting 155 times. Bauk was regularly hitting 156. Now at the end of that session, Bauk did have the fastest lap with a 154.6, I believe. But he was consistently in the 156s. And if Dan's is consistently about a second faster throughout the course of the race, it's going to be very hard for Bauk to hold that championship lead.
Yeah, but practice is always different than racing, and everyone's going to be bunched up for that first few laps. You know, we could see something crazy happen. Always something happens in turn 1 shenanigans, and Maggiore is no different with very short length between turn 1 and 2, there's going to be a lot of drama.
Turn 1 and turn 2, as you mentioned, very, very tight, very slow. So we could easily see some bumper to bumper action going into the corner, as we see on board with Lago now. Going through the SS section, we're going to see the split here as he throws under the board. He's at 1.12. So he has improved, but it's not quite purple. Should still be a good lap from that. He should improve from that 5th place, which is not where he wants to be in comparison to Dan's. As he rounds that tight hairpin, he's going to go through the, I'm going to call it a long chicane. It's not really a chicane, but when you're going through the corner at 200 kilometers an hour, it kind of feels like a chicane. He's going to go under the other Maggiore board. He's up by almost 4/10 on his time. Going to go through the tight little hammerhead section here. Make sure he clips that curve. Wasn't quite along it. Still avoiding the curves. Possibly the GTR not liking them too much here at Maggiore. Going to brake right at the 50 board, turn in. Again, still avoiding the curve. Going to shoot out wide back on the throttle. He's going to be coming across the start-finish line in a 1:55.4. Going to go 3rd place with that.
And only a 10th behind Dan's. That's a huge improvement in comparison. I think, like you mentioned, he's avoiding some of the curves. He could be taking advantage of the wider entry and wider exit out of his corners and get a little more out of his out of the speed out of the GTR. So it just kind of needs to adapt a little bit more to taking those curves.
Well, you yourself are a GTR driver. I know you're a big fan of the car. You're going to be running it in the upcoming ARC Le Mans Series race we have going on next weekend. Do you feel like he's avoiding the curves because it's possibly harder for that car just to hit the curbs, or because of its turning radius, it's a lot heavier, as you mentioned? Is it just that when he clips the curbs, it throws off the car for the next corner?
So on this track, the curbs don't have too much height on them. If anything, if you're not running any traction control, you can spin your tires underneath them. But as long as you've got the power down before touching any of the curbs, you should be pretty good. There shouldn't be any issue touching any of the curbs on this track.
Okay, as we hear that, we're going to look at Dan's now. He's almost 4/10 up on his time. About a 10 behind Alex Rogers on the pole, which is about just improves his time to 3rd place. And Dan's goes even quicker, says, no, I want this championship. We're going to see him come towards the last corner here. This last corner, very tricky to get right. It's kind of an early apex that goes out wide, but it's hard to find that apex. So you're going to go under the bridge on the main straight. He's going to cross the line with a 1:54.7 and going to go pole and beat Alex Rogers.
Yeah, that was a very fast time. Alex Rogers actually improves on top of that, now 100 ahead. So both of these drivers blistering pace right now.
Top 3, Alex Rogers, Dan 303, and Bauk 21. Now, I do know a little bit of banter between the drivers after the last round, and Alex Rogers knows he'd be quick here. This track does favor the Porsche 911. A little bit of banter between the drivers and saying, well, who do I like more? Who I might want to give the win to? This, it could make the difference.
Yeah, who knows? Alex Rogers is a heavy favorite in that Porsche. The soft tire is definitely giving it even more of an advantage it already has, being able to keep its speed all the way through the sweeping S's, through many of these corners, where sometimes even the advantages of like faster cars in a straight line, like Mercedes or the GTR, it doesn't really matter because the Porsche is just swinging those corners at high speeds. So yeah, Alex Rogers is definitely doing well today.
Matt Wing doing the best that he can to hold on to that 4th position in the championship. He's really going to give it today with a 1:55.7 being his best lap, with his teammate right behind him in 5th. He does seem to be going a bit faster than his previous best. PKMZ, a driver who has been pretty consistent throughout the season, retaining about the 4th to 6th place in the championship. Never quite in the top 3, but always a strong contender, especially at the start of a race. We have CJ in 7th, the driver who surprised us last round at St. Croix in that GTR. Very strong drive from him. I believe it was finish either 3rd or 4th place, excuse my memory. We have Dark Reef Slart, the other King Honey Badger driver, currently in 8th place. And Saveloy, the other 911 driver, currently in 9th place, rounding out the grid.
You know, there was something I noticed about Dark Reef. He always has his right blinker on. I don't know if you've noticed, but he's always got it on.
Do you feel that he maybe just has it on so drivers know which side he might pull to, just so when he expects them to go by that they just know, or is it just a little thing he does, or does he not know?
I don't know. Maybe it's a quirk of his because he's had it on for the last few qualifying sessions where it's just always there.
It could be one of his could be a rabbit, but each driver has their own, little, maybe possibly a little thing to do for luck. Like Lewis Hamilton has his I believe it's a lucky pair of underwear that he wears, and maybe Dark Reef's right blinker on could be the luck he needs for possibly for a good qualifying session.
I hope so. As right now, currently, we've got the standings. Pole position, Alex Rogers stands in 2nd, Valk in 3rd, Defcon in 4th, Batwing in 5th, became in 6th, CJ in 7th, Dark Reef in 8th, and My Savoy in 9th. The qualifying session seems to have sort of fizzled out a little bit, but we've still got the hot laps to come as they've just pinned in one more final time. So we're going to be following around Alex Rogers right now as he sweeps these last few corners into his first hot lap.
Now, we did this last round at St. Croix, but we did a little prediction of who we think the top 3 is going to be. So I guess it was a little bit of fun, so let's do it again. I'll start first and say that probably I would expect the winner of this round to be Alex Rogers. Very common here. The track favors the Porsche 911. But the question is for 2nd and 3rd. Right now in qualifying, it's between Dan303 and Bow 21, who are also fighting again for the ARC Championship driver's title. I think it might come down to either pit strategy or a possible mistake in the first few laps. Gran Turismo Sport is usually one of the games you'll see where drivers usually spin out a lot, but it can happen. Especially out of that current corner we saw Alex Rogers before this one, the turn, I believe it's turn 4. Very easy to get into the power too early and spin it around, especially if you're not running traction control. But I'm going to have to say Dan's will win it. I'm expecting Dan's to win this championship over Bauk 21. Although Bauk, great guy, fun to be around, fun to drive with. I'm gonna have to give it to Dan. He's had more strong races throughout the season. His car is more favorite of this track over Bauk. I'm gonna have to say Dan's will get 2nd, Bauk 3rd, and Dan's will win the championship. What about you?
As Alex Rogers spins out of the greatest corner in the world, I kind of think the same thing, but I'm going to predict that Dan's will, we mentioned his consistency as he's half a second ahead on his previous time. Dan's consistency has been his strong point. I think that is where he's going to excel. So I predict Dan's will win, Alex Rogers 2nd, Bauk 3rd, and I expect turn 1 shenanigans with Mercedes in 4th and 5th. I expect them to murder everyone. Not on purpose, obviously, but just because they're Mercedes.
Yeah. As we do see Dan's improving on his time and putting the car on pole position with a 1:54.4, and it looks like, you know what? I said at that time, I think I'm done qualifying. No one's going to touch me. But I don't think he knew that Alex Rogers that last lap was going purple as well. So that could still change, and that could be a mistake from Dan's. But looking at 4th place for the championship, if I bring up these standings again, we have Matt Wing 4th, Lemon Pen 5th, Defcon 6th, PKMZ 7th, Thomas 8th, and Alex 9th. Thomas, TT, and Lemon Pen not here today, so we're going to count them out of the championship. They're not going to gain any points. We have Alex Rogers at 113 points, and at the top we have Matt Wing with 132 points. It's about 20 points between them. If Alex Rogers were to win here today, and Matt Wing were to even just finish 4th behind Bauk and Dan's, that'd be quite a big points gap that could possibly skyrocket Alex from 9th place in the championship into 4th.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the times where position is going to matter a lot for a lot of these people fighting for 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. For some of these people, Drivers' Championship is kind of out of sight, but finishing as high as possible is always the most ideal for these drivers.
As we're doing the test start, and Dan's 303 is not there. At least I believe this is the test start. So, through turn 1, pretty smooth. Just about 21, Alex Rogers getting through pretty good. PKMZ in the 3rd, Matt Wing in 4th. Dan's just didn't know we were doing the test start. Still hasn't come back yet, as is Defcon AC, I guess. No, so slow. They got through the start. They will back out now as we will do the proper, correct start. I don't believe they were, excuse me, as I'm saying, I don't believe, nope, I've lost it. That's my bad. But here we were doing the test start. Some drivers a little bit concerned on the surprise, as qualifying has finished, although they did not announce qualifying being finished, so some drivers might be upset about that. Possibly a little bit of a mistake from officials. But, you know, it's sometimes like that with a known fact about FIA rules. Technically, you don't have to get the white flag to get the checkered flag. If timing goes over and they miss the call for the white flag, technically in the rules it states the white flag is a courtesy flag, so it will have to go right to checkered. And I guess we could say the same thing happened here. Technically, qualifying being over is a courtesy call for the start of the test race. Some drivers are going to be upset about that, but technically it's in the rules, so well, that means final will be starting here soon. However, it was just a test start, so not too much to be fussed about. Most of the drivers will be here before the start of the race.
Yep, as we get started with Adrenaline Racing Championship, the final round here at Maggiore. I think it's going to be an awesome race with a lot of action, a lot of drama already getting started, heated up, talking about qualifications and you know, accidents happen. So, you know, this could cause some concern post race, but you know, we just have to continue on.
Again, as I mentioned previously, qualifying is of a certain time, and regardless of whether or not qualifying is announced as over, it's over. It's a timed session, so regardless of whether the drivers like it or not, it's over. So as we wait for the drivers to get ready and come back for the start of the final round of the ARC Championship Series. Again, the title on the line here, 3 points separating about 21 and Dan's 303 for the championship lead. And I believe there's 3 teams that could take the constructors title here today.
As my save boy with the banter in the chat.
Some drivers having a little bit of fun here before the last round of the ARC Championship Series. We will go on a bit of a hiatus here for the official championship after this round has finished. We will have some events in between. For example, next week we will have a Le Mans event, a 90-minute endurance race. I cannot guarantee if it will be streamed or not, but it will be happening. And I believe the weekend after that, it will be a Mount Panorama endurance race. I'm not entirely sure, but I believe it has been confirmed to happen. But again, don't quote me on that. And after that, I'm not quite sure, as I believe the next season of the ARC Championship Series will be starting, I believe, April.
Yep, and if you guys are interested in those at all, make sure to follow the YouTube channel. Information is there. And, join us and get interested in racing. And, the more the merrier. The more people we've got racing, the more fun it is.
If you ever want to know about how to join or who to ask to join, feel free to ask CJ2041, Bauk 21, CRubennnn if you come across him. Any of those guys, they're the organizers of the ARC Championship Series. Feel free to talk to them, ask them. We do have a Discord group where we don't just play Gran Turismo Sport. We do have some drivers who participate in iRacing. So if you feel like you might want to try that out, or possibly some other games, or just feel like trying some one-off events, feel free to join. Don't be afraid to ask us. Hit us up, It's always fun to have more drivers in the championship. The more the merrier. So as we see, the race will be starting soon. In a minute and a half, I believe, at this point. But again, Lago Maggiore, one of the smaller tracks, very tight tracks, so it should be very interesting and provide some very close racing.
What are your predictions for the turn 1?
Well, we have Alex Rogers, I believe, the qualified second. He hasn't been too good at getting away from the start line. So I expect him to maybe lose 1 to 2 positions going into turn 1. Dan's has been very good away from the line, so I expect him to get through very cleanly. Bioki's been not bad, so I expect him to maybe make the pass, and Alex Rogers possibly take second place going into turn 1. We'll see towards the back of the field. I expect maybe the Mercedes might make a bit of contact with some of the drivers, but nothing too much to take them out, of course, but maybe just a little bit of rubbing. But overall, I expect it to be very clean. It is a very wide corner, although very tight. And we've had some mostly good starts here in the ARC Championship Series. Nothing too dramatic or drastic. So I expect it to be fairly clean, maybe a bit of rubbing. But I expect Dan's and Bauk to take the lead going through turn 1.
Yep. From my experience, the Mercedes are very good off the line, so definitely look out for them. Maybe possibly, shooting off the line in their start today.
All right. We will do the split start here. What you and I do, where one of us will watch the front, the other will watch the back. I will save the replay of it, so we will go back and watch to see if there is any contact or any excellent starts, as the race should start here in just a few seconds. All the drivers are on track and ready to go.
Yep, just kind of waiting for the go-ahead from the race organizers, and here we go.
Yep, we're ready to start the last round, the last and final round of the ARC Championship Series. Championships are on the line in both constructors and your drivers' championships. So yeah, starting on pole position, we have Dan's 303 in the Lexus RCF, Alex Rogers in second in the Porsche 911, PKMZ 30 in third. Great job from PKMZ to qualify third place. Bauk 21 in fourth, Defcon AC fifth, Matt Wing sixth, Dark Reach Lark seventh, CJ 2041 eighth, and Savoy in ninth place.
So I'm going to follow right now on board with Matt Wing, see how they get off the line here as they're off.
Green. Dan's going to make a great start, as you mentioned. Defcon AC with a great start to the inside, all the way to the inside. There's contact with Bauk at the back between him and Matt Wing. That's a terrible start from Bauk 21, especially for this championship lead. Excuse me as I try to fix the camera here.
That is incredibly unfortunate.
As we see Dance really pulling away, Alex Rogers in second, Defcon AC, as you mentioned, with the great start in the third, PKMZ 30 into fourth, Dark Reef in fifth, Save Boy in sixth, as there's still a lot of action going on, especially for that fourth place between, as I think here, we see PKMZ 30 right on the back of Defcon. Defcon getting the brakes, really going defensive into that tight hairpin, uphill hairpin, as PKMZ looks on the inside, gets a little squirrely in the rear. Dark Reef right behind him, trying to maybe look for a move. Defcon still holding off PKMZ. Right now it's between Alex Rogers and Dan 3 at the front of the pack as they go through the S's section here in Italy. PKMZ is going to get the draft on Defcon as they head towards the hairpin out of the S's section. PKMZ pulls right up on the back of that Mercedes, going to look to the inside. Defcon not going to go defensive. Oh, yes, he does, but he's going to push PKMZ just enough inside, but he's going to move back for a better line. PKMZ hard on the brakes. We're going to see Defcon not be able to get the position back. Great move by PKMZ up 30, up into third, but Defcon doesn't let him go. Dark Reef up into fifth. Great start from Dark Reef on that. Still waiting behind fourth and third place here is Defcon all over the back of PKMZ 30 as they head towards the Hammerhead section of the track here. PKMZ 30 really trying to fight for this race here. Trying to show that, you know what, let's round the championship. I'm tired of being fourth through sixth. I want a podium in my first season of the ARC. But you see Alex Rogers now closing right up to the back of Dan's 303 in the foreground of your shot. PKMZ 30 with a bit of a gap behind him to Defcon. So I'm going to go back on board with Balk 21, who's currently in 8th, behind his teammate CJ 2041 as they cross the start finish line for the first ever lap. You see CJ looking for a move on Sable into turn 1. Good job from him, but a lot of space between them. You might see Balk possibly make for a double path through turn 2 and looking the outside of his teammate. Not going to go for it. I expect CJ to make a lot of room for Balk because he knows he wants the championship. A little bit of team orders there, but I'd say it's okay. No contact between teammates is not what you want. Still seeing the foreground of your shot. We see the battle for third place between PKMZ, Dark Reef, and Defcon, as we do see Dark Reef now moving up in that third place. There is this fourth place battle for the championship is really close as we're on board with Balk, moving up the inside of CJ 2041 towards the SS section. Now hard on the brakes going in, right. His next target in line is going to be Savoy, and the more he has to fight through traffic is going to be the harder it is for Balk here, especially on the start. As he's now 5 seconds between him and the leader, closing right up to the back of Savoy. The power of the G-Charge is going to allow him to go right on by that Porsche 911. We're getting a little bit of a nudge toward him, trying to squeeze him over a bit more. He's going to be hard on the brakes on the 50 board. He's going to go right on the inside, hugging the curb, but he's going to go wide on the exit, and that's not what he's going to be want, but he still holds position. As no, CJ is going to be on the outside of this corner, but he's not going to forget that one. The teammates are fighting here as there is a battle for third place.
Yep, there's a ton of battling going on. Balk now has to make the recovery drive after that awful, very horrific start. Batwing got loose under the start and just turned it into Balk as they got off the line. That was a very unfortunate start for them.
Speaking of the starts, even though it's still a little bit of fighting going on, let's go back and look at the start. So I'm going to go on board with Balk for the start of this race here. We're going to see the lights go on. 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights. All the Christmas tree is lit. The lights are going to go out. Balk getting a decent start, but Mattwing right in the back of him. He's going to... Oh! Mattwing had to swerve to avoid. He was quick on the start, but he dipped a tire in the grass, which clipped about 21 on the start. It's not what you want to see. About 21 now, I guess you mentioned, trying to make the recovery drive. The next drivers in sight, PKM's 30, Defcon AC, and Dark Reef Slark for that third place. But the man he wants to fight on track, Dance 303, the current, not current championship leader, but current race leader, is trying to hold off Alex Rogers for first place.
Yep, currently Dance 303 and Alex Rogers on a blistering pace, running 155s. Everyone else running a slower pace. PKMZ holding up the line with Dark Reef Slark and Defcon as Balk tries to chase them down, gaining on every corner at this point. We've got a battle for third, and Balk is going to be looming for a little bit until he can catch up to the rest of them.
As we just mentioned, there was a passive lead for the Alex Rogers and Dan Sweet. Great Dan Sweet. He's been up for a little bit, let him by, take that position. He's not going to fight him. Doesn't want to cost time. Let give Bauk the opportunity to close up. As we see Defcon AC looking up the inside Dark Reef Slug. That was very squirrely coming out of that very fast chicanes. PKMZ still holds that third place. Very close battle between these three drivers, as we're going to see Bauk now gapping Save Lloyd behind him and trying to catch that train of three drivers. Defcon, oh, there's a bit of contact through the last corner. They touched. That might have been a bit of lag, but they managed to hold on PKMZ 30 wide, as we're going to see Defcon go up the inside into turn 1, and Dark Reef Slark's going to possibly look for a move onto PKMZ going into turn 1. We're going to see, yes, he does. He goes up the inside. Good move by Dark Reef Slark, but they're still side by side. He's not going to be able to hold it. Gets on the throttle a little too early. Loosens up the rear end, and now Bauk 21 is doing his best to still try and close up to them.
Yep, that GTR looming a little bit. Dark Reef Slark maybe just a little bit more, and Bauk will be able to get into that slipstream of the Lexus. But right now, Defcon making the right moves, a little bit of lag maybe, but making the right moves to move into the inside, get that third position out of PKMZ. PKMZ a little bit loose sometimes, and Dark Reef Slark also a little bit loose, getting onto the throttle. As they come into the S's, they're coming in a little bit side by side, and then they slot in. You know, going too wide into these S's is not the ideal line. You gotta go as fast as possible to get the best exit.
4 laps in, as we see Defcon go very wide through the middle of the S. That's going to allow PKMZ go right by him, and Dark Reef Slark's also going to go right by him. It's going to give Bauk 21 the draft on the straightaway going into the banked hairpin here. What just happened?
Yeah, I think Bauk just took the S's a little bit awkwardly, and then he went off onto the third portion of it. And now with that draft off of the Mercedes, Bauk was able to close that gap, and now this is going to be a 4-person fight for third place.
Dark Reef Slark look up the inside of PKMZ into the hammerhead. PKMZ very wide. Dark Reef is going to take that position, as Bauk is now fighting with Defcon for that 5th place. Defcon holds him off. We're going to see PKMZ right on the back of Dark Reef Slark again. Defcon has already closed up the gap to the 2 drivers now, and Bauk is right on the back of them.
As Bauk goes a little bit wide through the final corner, but this is a 4-person battle, and there's basically a 10th between all
Defcon
4.
making it 3 wide into turn 1, squeezing his way past. Great move by Defcon, and he's able to hold it.
And now this is becoming a 5-person fight, as Bauk gets a little bit squirrely behind. My Savloy is also looking to take his shot at 3rd place.
This battle through the middle of the field, this battle for 3rd place is very close. We have a driver who is currently leading the championship. We have several drivers who are currently fighting for that 4th place in the championship. They're all going at it. In Mattwing, I should mention the current 4th place driver in the championship was all the way back in 8th place. So he will score good points. And right now, Alex Rogers currently winning the race and getting a bit of a gap over Dance 303 in the Lexus. So I would expect right now Alex Rogers to take that 4th place for the championship. So this is essentially a battle for 5th in the championship, as we see Dark Reef Slark falling back to 7th place out of the exit of the upwards hairpin. Disastrous few corners for Dark Reef Slark, as we're going to look forward, and we're going to see Bauk looking to make a move into the banked hairpin. Makes it, takes that 4th place from PKMZ.
Yep, Bauk is getting that 4th place. A little bit of rubbing into those corners, but the GTR through that straight was able to make the pass. And now PKMZ into 5th, Bauk in 4th. Defcon making that gap, 1.6 seconds now. Bauk's got some time to make up with all that fighting that they had to do.
The hammerhead section now. PKMZ there is the Alpha, very quick to the hammerhead section, still staying right on the back of the GTR, almost right into the back of it as they head towards the last corner of the lap here at Lago Maggiore. We're going to expect to see the GTR gap the Alpha on the straightaway here, but the Alpha a little bit wide, dipping a tire into the grass as we again now see the GTR pulling away on the straightaway. Dark Reef Slark in the background trying to hold off Save Roy going into turn 1, and Mattwing right behind him. Great move by Mattwing, dive bomb into turn 1. A little bit of contact between those drivers, but Mattwing backs off. Let's Save Boy have the position. They're still fighting for that 6th position now.
Yeah, the battles have spread out a little bit. Alex Rogers now 2.6 seconds ahead of Dan's. Dan 6 seconds ahead of DEFCON. The closest fights we've got right now is still that mid-pack, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Valk is trying to catch back up to DEFCON as they come into this corner. And now they're going to be leading up into the hill, pressing over to the S's. BKMZ is going to look for the outside move, maybe. No, he's going to just slot in. I definitely think BKMZ had the better run there, but he's going to have the better grip through these corners, as Valk will probably have to lift up a little bit. BKMZ now behind him, 2 tenths away. The GTR is probably going to pull away on this straight, even though BKMZ is going to have the draft in that alpha. As they come down the hill into the crest, I call it the world's greatest corner. It just feels really great to turn here. Valk still keeping his position though.
DEFCON currently in that 3rd place with an almost 2-second gap to Valk in 4th. Now another thing I want to have a mention as we take our eyes off this battle from Valk trying to claw his way through the field. The gap between Alex Rogers and Dan 3 has opened up to 3 seconds. Dan 3 can see the leaderboard and see that there's a car between him and Valk. He doesn't have to win this race. All he has to do is finish in front of him and he wins the championship. So he knows he has this car buffer. He knows he has a big gap to the car behind him. He doesn't have to push as hard as he needs to. He can save fuel, save his tires, and almost just take it easy until Valk is right on the back of him.
Yeah, that is very true. I believe that would be the most optimal strategy. Valk has a lot of work ahead of him if he wants to possibly make it up. Now, that could be also a detriment to Dan's. If he takes it too easy, he's going to end up maybe getting undercut by Valk.
Pit stops, they are still within the pit stop range. The average pit stop here without a refueling is about 18 seconds. With refueling, depending on how much fuel you want to put in, I can increase it to over 20 seconds. Right now, the gap between Valk and Dan's is right now 13 seconds. So if Valk wants to try and go for an undercut and get his way out of traffic as we see PKMZ bounce back in front of Valk, that might be the smartest move that Valk could make in this situation. Go for the undercut, get his way out of traffic, get some clean air, get some fast laps in, then wait for Dan's to make that pit stop and possibly come out in front of him.
As Valk comes over the hill, making a very deep inside move to get that pass as they come into the corner, the sweeping hairpin. Valk makes that move stick in 4th, but PKMZ gets a better run as now Valk is on the inside of this next corner, of the sweeping along left and right. The positions are just swapping back and forth between them as PKMZ is now going to have the inside for this next corner. They're basically fighting it out. PKMZ just slots in right behind.
Now we're about, as I mentioned, 7-8 laps into the race. Let's look at tire wear. Alex Rogers right now, your leader, looking not too bad on his tires, taking it pretty easy. Dan's actually looking very worn on his tires in 2nd place. DEFCON looking very similar. Valk is looking a little bit more worn as he looks to maybe make that pit stop. He's going to go for the undercut. PKMZ going to follow him into the pit lane as Matt Wing now takes that 5th place. Matt Wing not too bad on his tires. A lot of drivers in the pit lane now making those early pit stops. So let's go on board with Valk and watch the bend as he tries to make the undercut and possibly take the position from Dan 303. He did not take any fuel. He only took tires. PKMZ still right on the back of him. But he has the lead now on a fresh set of tires, so we will see. This could easily take the position from Dan 303. He's got fresh air, he's got clean air. He's just going to go and give it his all, use those tires as much as he can, and go for that undercut. But PKMZ is not going to make it easy. He's still right on the back of him.
PKMZ is still looming right behind. Not totally clean air because now he's got someone behind him to keep track of. But Valk is a little bit faster. PKMZ did qualify ahead of Valk at near the end. So this is a race between similar pace.
As there's a yellow in the hairpin section, as it looks like Safeloy spun. I'll see if I can get a replay on what happened there. Yeah, you just dipped 2 tires into the grass on the 2nd corner of the hairpin, and it just was spun around on him. So a big mistake from Safeloy. As I mentioned before the race here, very easy to spin, even though Gran Turismo Sport, easy game to spin those tires, but This track is very easy to do it on. So that's going to make it easier for Bauk. One more driver to work, a little less driver, I should say, to worry about, as he moves his way up into 6th place. The gap between him and PKMZ growing, especially through this flat out section, almost a second now as they're entering the hammerhead. As we see our leader, Alex Rogers, entering the pit lane.
As well as Dan, so it looks like this is going to be a battle of the two-stop. As it seems like this seems to be about the time where everyone's going to be making their pit stops. Bauk now onto the penultimate corner, getting onto the main straight.
Dan's 303 does still come out in front of Bauk. Bauk, I don't believe he made the stop. I believe he should have made the stop a bit earlier, then he wouldn't have had to worry about PKMZ, but PKMZ followed him in anyways. But now Bauk's in 4th, again, still behind DEFCON, but he's closer to the back of DEFCON AC, who I believe also made his pit stop. Yes, he did. So Bauk can gain his 3rd position and possibly go for another undercut on the 2nd stop.
Yeah, Bauk making up a little bit of time in that undercut. He's going to have 1 lap more tire down on DEFCON, so near the end of his stint is going to be where he's going to be losing the time on the Mercedes. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see if Bauk can make the move now, get ahead of DEFCON so that he can make it work for his 2nd stint.
Let's go on board with Bauk 21 for a few laps, see if we can close the gap and make a pass on the DEFCON. Right now the gap between them just under 6/10, as we're going to be entering, as you like to call it, the world's greatest corner. The gap now closing significantly as the power of the GTR finally starting to get used here on this track. Is going to DEFCON going to look to be a little defensive. Bauk going to dive right inside. They're side by side going through the world's greatest corner, and looks like Bauk is going to get that move, but no, DEFCON's going to look for the undercut through the exit of the corner, but he's going to go to the outside going through here. He's not going to be able to hold it. I don't think he will. Nope. Bauk 21 will take 3rd place.
A very, very good move there. He got the draft, sniffed onto the inside, had DEFCON thinking about a defensive move, and that just kind of unsettled DEFCON on the braking zone. Took a deep and nice exit out of the world's greatest corner and was able to get a good exit, and DEFCON didn't have enough run to possibly get that undercut move back.
Bauk very wide through the last corner though, allowed DEFCON to close right up to the back of him. Although he is in the draft, the GTR way too powerful, but it looks like he's going to be defensive into turn 1. That's going to allow DEFCON to look up the outside, which if he can stay beside him, which he's not going to be able to, it would have given him the inside, but now PKMZ 30 closing up to the back of the 2 fighting cars. The GTR very slow out of that corner, DEFCON giving a little bump in the rear. But now the gap has grown a bit, about half a second between Bauk and DEFCON, but DEFCON's still right there.
Yep, still in that slipstream range, but with the GTR, if he can get a few more good corners out of the GTR, he's going to be pulling away, and then Bauk is going to be looking to Dan's, trying to hunt him down.
The gap between Bauk and Dan's right now is 8.5 seconds. That is within pit stop range. So if Bauk can maintain, if not close that gap down more and more, which he is slightly doing, the gap has fallen, it is continuing to fall. So Bauk is slightly closing the gap to Dan's 3 in 2nd. If again, if he goes for that undercut on Dan's, he could take that 2nd position and possibly the championship.
Yep, I think this is the key point of the race now. We are about less than halfway, a couple more laps and we will be halfway, but we're less than halfway into the race and we're looking at the current spread of the field. My prediction, obviously wrong. I thought Dan's was going to be the race winner, but Alex Rogers is currently leading the race by a comfortable 5 seconds. Your prediction, however, is currently looking to be true.
Well, not to brag, but it was also correct at St. Croix. I predicted the top 3 there. I guess I just have a bit of a knack for it as the gap still slightly coming down. Bauk is just ever so slightly, every few meters. It's going to be really close, especially in the next 4 to 5 laps.
Yeah, Bauk needs to go into overdrive and focus real hard for these next 12 laps essentially to come back. You know, he's got one more stint after he comes in for one more stop. You know, maybe I don't think it would ever work. The GTR just loses too much tire wear, but you know, he could possibly bet on, you know, not stopping, but if he had bet on that, he would have taken fuel. And since he didn't take fuel, he's going to probably need to definitely pit to get some more gas.
I definitely agree. Not to mention that in the soft tires he took will not last that 12 laps, as you just said. If he was going to go for that one stop, he would have taken fuel, possibly gone on some medium tire. But I feel, again, throughout the series, we've seen the two-stop, unless your name is CRubennnn, be far superior to the one-stop. But over the course of that lap, specifically in the first sector, the gap between Bauk and Dan's did increase by about half a second. Throughout the rest of the lap, it stayed about the same. So the GTR is on pace with the Lexus in almost every other section other than the first, it seems, which is the slowest section of the track. So it's going to be hard for Bauk to close this gap as much as he can, but I believe he can do
it. Yep, as if we take a look at their lap times, currently Bauk and Dan's are running roughly 155 laps. Blistering pace for the GTR, consistent. 156.0 for the GTR right now, so a little bit slower, and that's where some of the time is being lost. As the tire wear is now starting to show on the GTR, as he seems to start slipping a little bit closer and closer to DEFCON behind him. As DEFCON is now 2/10 away.
Yeah, the game, to add on to that, the gap to Dan's has again increased by about 3/10. You know, DEFCON within half a second. Towards the SS section where the AMG is historically faster than the GTR. We'll see if the gap closes even more. I don't believe Dan's will be able, or DEFCON, I should say, will make a pass into the world's greatest corner, but the GTR is just too powerful in the straights for that to happen. As again, we see the gap now increase just from raw power. But DEFCON is doing a great job here at Lago. See Bauk go defensive into the corner, not allowing DEFCON to go for it, but DEFCON will have a better line out of the corner. Gonna look for the inside. Bauk gets a little squirrely on the exit. Gonna open the door to DEFCON, but not gonna be able to make that move. The GTR just too powerful.
Yep, the GTR very good on the straight line, but DEFCON is in that slipstream, so DEFCON can really just, you know, he can take it easy behind the GTR and not really lose too much time. DEFCON was roughly running same pace and actually setting one of the fastest laps right now, 55.2. So the slipstream is definitely working out for him.
Oh, excuse me, there's a bit of lag there. I thought Bauk was about to shoot off into the barrier, but he didn't. But now the gap to Dan's 303 has increased to almost 10 seconds. As he has to worry about DEFCON going around the outside of him through turn 1. Excellent move by DEFCON. Will hold the inside for second corner, that hairpin. And now DEFCON taking that third place. Great move.
Yep, an outside move into turn 1. Just Bauk was too much on the brakes. Didn't have the grip to keep the speed up.
Better replay here. Oh, I couldn't get it. Oh well, I was going to get a good replay on that pass, but I got it right on camera, so I guess it does not matter. But now Bauk, this is not what Bauk wants to see. Bauk does not want to see any car in front of him other than the car of Dan's 303. The gap is just only going to grow, grow, and grow. It's going to be even harder and harder for Bauk to possibly make that championship that he currently leads to stay in his hands.
Yep, at the moment, we might be looking at the current standings, DEFCON and Bauk fighting it out. Dark Reef Slark actually made a position up on PKMZ, so we can definitely see something happening there as well. Seems like the closest people on track are going to be DEFCON, Bauk, Dark Reef Slark, and PKMZ, roughly a couple of seconds away from each other. might be able to make it a little bit tighter as Bout goes into the wall slightly, DEFCON onto the grass.
It's going to allow Darkreef to close up even more. The gap between Bauk and Darkreef, about 2.5 seconds. Bauk, I don't know what he has to do at this point. You can look at the split at the side of the screen and see that, hey, the gap keeps growing, but then this guy just got by me, and I'm not able to keep right on the back of him. What do I do at this point? Like, what do I try? What strategy do I do? Do I pit early and go for, like, a 2-stop on mediums to the end and try to outlast Dan's, or, like, what do you do in this situation?
I think this one is more of it's a done deal for Bauk. It's unfortunate for his start of the race. That is definitely not something we'd like to see happen. But yeah, I think at this point, all Bauk can really look at is, you know, trying to finish as best as possible in this race, and that's chasing down DEFCON.
Now again, as we mentioned, the race isn't over. The race is never over until it's over. Many a times in my own career of karting, I've seen many a driver crash on the last lap of the last corner, and I've taken the podium position from it. So never say never until the race is over. But it is looking pretty grim for Bauk 21 here, currently halfway through the final round of the NFC Championship Series. Again, 14 laps in, almost halfway through the next stop. I want to look at the tire wear. Alex Rogers looking very good on his. Dan Streethy looking a bit more worn, especially in those fronts, so he might be making his pit stop in the next few laps. DEFCON actually looking pretty good on his, even though, wait, yes, he did pit on the same lap as Dan Streethy. Bauk looking a little bit more worn, especially on that front left. The front left, a lot of use here. That's going to be a challenge for Bauk here. Darkreef Slark looking actually pretty good on his rear tires, but the front's looking a little bad. PKMZ getting a solid 6th place right now, looking fairly even across the board. Matt Wing, the driver we saw make contact with Bauk 21 off the start line, looking not terrible in his. He could probably go a few more laps. CJ 2041, the other GTR driver, again, his front's looking pretty worn. And Savoy in last place, currently into the wall right now.
Yep, not totally sure what's going on there, but as we follow through the race right now, DEFCON and Bauk, they are about 8 tenths between each other. And this is going to be looking to be the quickest and closest battle at the moment. But one of the things we're going to be looking at is the second pit stop everyone has to make. This might close up some of the positions a little bit between 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, as they were all running similar pace and they've only just slightly dropped off from each other. So might see that close up a little bit in the second stop of the race.
And that second stop will be coming up. Honestly, I expect Bauk to make his pit stop at the end of this lap, to be honest. His tires are looking fairly worn. We got about 7-8 laps to the end of the race. If he wants to try anything, I'd say go for the undercut on Dan's. But he will have to take fuel, and that might put him over time for the undercut. We will see. Anything could happen, as we said earlier. But I would expect Bauk to make his pit stop around this or the next lap.
Looking at what he's got right now, I suspect maybe one more lap. However, Bauk has always been one to try and maybe get that undercut. He's always gone in a little bit early in comparison to everyone else. Sometimes he's on pace with everyone else on their pit stops. But Bauk is, in that GTR as he swings into the pits now. Bauk has always been one to try and make his tires and get that undercut, because just the GTR they get worn really quickly.
We will have to take fuel, as we said earlier. Currently at 11%. Don't know how much he's willing to take on to get to the end of the race, but he gets the fuel. He's going to exit pit lane. Currently, the gap to Dan's 39 seconds. No, sorry, it's 39 seconds to the leader. don't know the gap to Dan's right now as he's not the leader, but it's about 8 seconds, so I'd say about 30 seconds to Dan's. That's a lot of time, a lot of room for Dan's to make that pit stop, take all the fuel he needs, and basically just hold his position over Bauk.
Yep, at this point, with the pace that Bauk is driving, Dan's needs to drive slower by 1 second every lap for the rest of the race to essentially make up that position.
There's a bit of a battle on track for position right now between PKMZ and Mattwing for that 6th position. Currently within half a second. DEFCON AC has disconnected from the room. That's something we want to see. The current, what was 3rd place driver, has a disconnect, so that'll promote Darkreef into 3rd and Bauk 21 into 4th. Make it a bit easier for Bauk 21, another driver he doesn't have to worry about, especially after the next round of pit stops. But unfortunate for DEFCON, as he was, I believe, on for one of his better finishing results of this season. As we see the leader now, Alex Rogers, making his pit stop.
Yep, that was actually, besides Red Bull Ring, that was probably one of the best performances I've seen from DEFCON. Very aggressive and nice and tight lines, and a lot of good overtaking opportunities that he made stick.
See Alex Rogers come out now, out just under half a tank of fuel, new set of brakes and softs. Dancer 3 and Darkreef Slark, the 2 Team Honey Badger drivers, now making their pit stop. If the race were to finish as it were, I would expect Team Honey Badger to take not only the drivers, but also the constructors title. As we see across the line, we see Bauk 21 now in the 3rd place. The gap to Dan's after that round of pit stops, 9 seconds. So he has gained time on Dan's and after that undercut, but not enough to make a difference. But it is slowly coming down. Dan's seems to be a bit slow after putting on a new set of tires. But now Bauk will have to push, and push the rest of the race to try and close that gap and possibly win the championship.
Oh yeah, for sure. And one thing to note is Darkreef is actually, he's a really good driver. He's had a high position places at what is it called? Not Interlagos. What was the other one?
Monza? Or
Brands Hatch.
Brands Hatch, okay.
Yes, Brands Hatch. He had a very good position in that race, and Darkreef Slark is a really good driver. But recently he had been positioned pretty low in the grid for the last few races. Maybe just a little bit of consistency issues. Now he seems to be coming on a tear to recover, and that's dangerous for the Team Nissan, who they wanted to possibly take drivers and constructors like their Lexus is positioned to do right now.
I was speaking to Darkreef Slark a little bit in the Discord that we do have, the ARC Discord, and I do know that he is he knows he can't win the championship, but he knows he wants to win the constructors for Team Honey Badger. He is very enthusiastic about trying to win that constructors title, so he is giving it his all here at Lago Maggiore with his teammate, currently 2nd place and winning the championship. The Lexus, a very strong car in general here in Gran Turismo Sport. But we have the GTR of Bauk in the 3rd, separating the 2 Team Honey Badger drivers.
Yep, and I'm not totally sure how this is going to affect the points, but if CJ, currently in 7th position, stays where he's at, this might possibly be where the Lexus takes the Constructors' Championship with the current point spread as it is.
As there is a bit of a battle now for 5th place on the track between Mattwing and PKMZ 30 as they go up the upwards hairpin towards the S's section. PKMZ, a driver who was very strong beginning round of the race, made several mistakes and saw himself falling back through the field, but now trying to claw his way back. Now is Mattwing, a front driver who made contact with Bauk at the start of the race. Not intentional, but by accident. Simple driver error. But as they go towards the world's greatest corner now. The gap between them open just a half a second. Should be an interesting battle here on track as the race comes towards its ending stages.
Yep, as we are roughly 5 laps away from finishing, as Alex Rogers goes over the line with a 154.5, absolutely blistering pace on his second stint out. This is going to be a interesting look for the championship. I think we're kind of set in stone on what we're looking at for the final results.
So it was about 11 seconds to Dance 303 in second. Alex Rogers just showing an absolute masterclass here at Lago Maggiore. Definitely showing that he deserves to be in Tier A next year and not the lower up-and-coming drivers of Tier B. Dance 303 with almost 11 seconds to about 21 in third. The gap has grown from over 9 seconds after the round of pit stops. And Dark Reef just within a second of Balk, but almost spinning the car out there, dipping 2 tires into the grass to the exit of the right-hander as they go toward the up-handed hairpin here.
Right now, the closest battle is currently Balk and Dark Reef, as well as Mattwing and PKMZ. This is the battle for third and battle for fifth. So at the moment, let's see which one will be more interesting. Currently, PKMZ is closer to Mattwing, so let's go ahead and follow with them.
Where you follow with PKMZ and Mattwing, I'll stay on Balk and Dark Reef slide for right now. So we have the 2 eyes on 2 different battles here.
PKMZ actually goes a little wide in through the S's, and so now drops off a second away from Mattwing.
That will make the close battle on track between Balk and Dark Reef as they go through the fast chicane here, going towards the hammerhead section in the last sector of Lago Maggiore. Dark Reef doing his best to try and close the gap to Balk. Do you feel like Dark Reef is okay with where he's positioned right now? Or do you feel like he wants to pass Balk, the driver who is fighting with his teammate for the championship, and possibly make it a bit easier on him?
So it's what I think could be happening is that Dark Reef is going to be pushing right now to catch up to Balk. And what Dark Reef probably wants is to possibly overtake Balk. And that just more solidifies them and their team as the winners for the Constructors' Championship. I think Dark Reef, even though the point's looking like even if he stays in fourth, he will get the Constructors' Championship. As a team, it just looks nicer to be, 2-3 podium.
With the gap we see just outside of 6/10 as they enter the S section, not the GTR strong point here. It's about getting a little bit slow, possibly fighting the tire wear at this point. But Dark Reef very loose on his tires, possibly pushing too hard, causing his tires to be very worn as well. As they go towards the world's greatest corner here, the GTR going to pull out that gap due to the raw power that it has. Braking at the 50 board and turning in, taking as much curb as he can. As we see the Lexus closing right up to the back of the GTR on the exit of the world's greatest corner.
Lexus having a good time ripping around the world's greatest corner. The fun part about that corner is you can go in really fast, and it just feels really nice as you're turning around into it.
It's a very, very nice corner to drive. The banking makes it very easy. I feel like it's pretty common to take that corner at around 150 kilometers an hour, even though it's a very, very tight corner. You see Dark Reef Slark picking up a 1.2 second penalty as he makes a mistake through the hammerhead section. So that'll cause him to drop off the back of Balk here. He's trying to slow down and serve his penalty, but the game is not allowing him to do that for whatever reason. So that's a disastrous result for Dark Reef as he finally gets to slow down and serves his penalty. So, as we see now, about 2 to 3 laps remaining now. Alex Rogers, current leader with 11 seconds. Dance 303 in second. was 12 seconds over to Bauk, 21 in third. And if they finish where they will right now, just barring any disconnects or mistakes from any of the drivers, Dan's 303 will take your Drivers' Championship, and Team Honey Badger should, do not quote me as I do not have the current points table in front of me, but they should take the Constructors title as well.
And I'm going to be right back. I was currently paid to hack Dan's internet. Be right back. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, Dan's is on a absolute tear. Alex Rogers is going to most likely take the win today, but Dan's finishing in his current position, barring obviously any disconnections. Congratulations for the entire season. He has been extremely consistent. About Dark Reef, everyone in the ARC community, and everyone who put this all together. Awesome job, and very humbling experience for me to take part and co-commentate with you. It has been a awesome time.
I would definitely have to agree. It's been very humbling and very fun to be part of this adrenaline racing community as well. It all started from a Reddit post CJ put up on Reddit asking for someone to do race commentary. I said sure. He got back to me. We talked. We hooked it all up. And here we are, one season into the ARC history books. Dan's 303 at this rate will take home the first ever inaugural ARC Championship Drivers title. A little bit of a fun fact for some of you that might be watching and don't know, Dan's 303 he has been leading the Drivers title for most of the season. Little known fact is that he also has, this entire season, also grown as a driver. Throughout the start of the season, he has used a controller, but has used traction control to help control the wheel spin. We do allow traction control here in the ARC Championship Series. But through the past couple of races, he has been not using any traction control whatsoever. So he has grown as a driver. So I do, in my personal opinion, believe that he does deserve that driver's title. Bauk 21, another driver who is currently in second place, but also still fighting for the championship lead, uses a high-end Fanatec driving wheel. So we have a man with a controller who's going to currently win the championship series, fighting with a man with a high-end driving wheel. And it's just interesting to see here in the ARC Championship Series that dynamic of that pick up and play with the controller is fighting with someone who wants to spend the money and get the best, most immersive experience out of Gran Turismo. And that's one thing I love about ARC is that you just get that dynamic and they can both be competitive against each other.
Yep, as we know that wheel tends to be a little bit faster than a controller, as well as better on the tire wear. But Dan's is masterclass in that controller usage. Race with him a few times, and you'll know that it's almost like he is driving with a wheel sometimes. Sometimes I think he might be actually driving with that motion control, because some of his movements just don't stick out to the analog stick to me.
Again, that's another thing. Some drivers in this championship, the name forgets my mind at the moment, but I do know that they use motion control. We have several drivers in the ARC Discord that use the motion control and are quite successful with it. So no matter how you want to drive, ARC will accommodate you and you can still be competitive. As right now, we're looking at PKMZ on the back and Matwing now for that 5th place, and PKMZ finally closed the gap. As the final lap here comes to starts and will come to a close when Alex Rogers will take the victory here. PKMZ going to look for a move on Matwing all over the track. Going to go for the inside to the uphill hairpin. He's going to get it done fairly easy. I think Matwing too worn on his tires. It'll be a fairly solid move for PKMZ as they enter the S's section. But as they're side by side, PKMZ 30 sideways as he goes through the section. Excellent job, not only defending but holding his position, entering the S's section. Excellent job from him. As we're going to go on board Alex Rogers, who's about to round your last corner and will take home, I believe, his second ever win in the ARC Championship Series. And the final round here, congratulations to Alex Rogers. Excellent photo finish for both Porsche 911 drivers as Sable comes back right before the finish. And congratulations to Dance 303. He'll finish second here, but he will be your Drivers Series champion.
Congratulations there to Dan's awesome job, to Alex Rogers on the win today. Bauk now coming into third. This has been an awesome season, awesome to take place. And as these drivers finish their laps, we will go and grab some of them for an interview.
Another thing to notice, based on the results of Dark Reef Slar, I am pretty sure that Team Honey Badger will not only take the Drivers' Championship, but also the Constructors' Championship. And congratulations to every ARC driver, not just Tier A, not just Tier B, every single driver and every single person in the ARC Discord and community that has made this all come together and make it work. A big thank you and congratulations to everyone here watching and participating. So again, as my co-commentator here mentioned, we will take a little bit of a break as we try to get some of the drivers to do a post-race interview. Thank you for joining us, and we will be right back.
Hey, Dans. All right, so give me 1 second. I will turn back on the audio for the stream. Just wanted to make sure I can get a mic check on you guys. All right, guys. Here we are for the post-race interview for the Adrenaline Racing Championship. I'm here with the current championship winner, Dan's 303. How are you feeling about that win, Dan's?
I feel good, but I also feel very bad for Kev. I looked back at the start and he got spun, I think, and ended up in last place. So it's a bit of a hollow victory, to be honest.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate for Kev. I definitely feel for him on that one to come into first and into the race and then qualify where he landed, and the start of the race it was almost essentially over at that point. But hollow victory, but still a victory nonetheless. Congratulations on winning the inaugural Season 1 Adrenaline Racing Championship. Coming into this race, how are you feeling about, possibly taking both drivers and constructors with your teammate Dark Reef?
Yes, I felt fairly confident. I guess the goalpost was clear just to beat Kev for the individual, and it was going to be close. I think our pace was quite similar. Unfortunately, he came fourth on the grid instead of third, which is where I expected him to be. So yeah, he kind of got caught up in the mid pack on the start, and then constructors. Yeah, it was just me and Kev, and then it was CJ versus Raul, and we kind of both came out on top. So yeah, honey badgers. I won't swear. I was going to say honey badgers don't give a, but I won't swear on the stream. I won't swear.
All right, man. And now here I am joined with Alex Rogers, the current today's race winner. Alex, how are you feeling about your win?
Yeah, great. Again, yeah, it was really good. Well done, Dan, first and foremost, for winning the race, and not winning the race. Sorry, hold on, winning the championship. I'm
Thank you, man. Thank
kind
you.
of I was following the first couple of laps, and I thought, I wonder if he's just going to kind of let me past, and then it kind of happened, and I was like, yeah, I'll just kind of drove to the finish from there, sort of thing. But yeah, no, it was a good race. Still, it was nice to drive the Porsche around here. It feels a bit dominant, to be honest, around this track, but yeah, it's a good race still. Good fun.
Yep, absolutely blistering pace there. Very awesome drive. The Porsche is really, really good around this track. And yeah, congratulations. Hope to see you in Season 2. And hopefully I can see you, we'll drive, maybe as opponents.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be really cool. I'm looking forward to next season. I'm looking forward to getting a full season in because I'm not sure where I finished this year, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting a full season in and seeing if I can mix it up with Dan's and Kevin and Ruben. Although he wasn't here tonight, shout out to him, man. I don't know what's happened, but he was the guy I was thinking would be a big threat because of the tire wear on the Beetle. But yeah, I don't know where he's gone.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it made a big difference. Ruben not being here made mine and Kev's job a lot easier. So yeah, it was a shame for him not to make it.
Yeah, still, it's been great. It's been a great championship to be a part of, and you top three guys have fully deserved, the plaudits for keeping it going to the last race of the season.
Yeah, for sure. I think with your current win today, I think that may have put you into fourth place. How do you feel about coming in late into the season and still positioning yourself in in a top 5 finish overall?
Yeah, well, it's awesome, man. I'm really surprised. I managed to sort of move up the standings so quick. I know I came in, was it week 4, was it, Bathurst? And then I still had another week that I couldn't make it. So to have only done sort of like 4 races and still be in 4th, I don't know if it says a lot about the Porsche or what it says a lot about, but yeah, I'm really happy with how it's gone. I'm hoping I did Obama proud by coming in for him at the midway and winning a couple of races.
All right, thanks, man. Congratulations on your race win today. Hope to see you next season.
Yeah,
I
nice
am
one, man.
joined
Thanks.
with CJ, the other Nissan driver. How you doing, CJ?
Hello. Good, thanks. Kind of
A
dramatic ending there, nonetheless. To all the boys that have taken part, it's been a pleasure as the host of this. It's been great fun, been very successful. Proud of you all showing up, admitting. So thanks, and we'll catch you in season 2, eh?
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. You are the event organizer for all of this, and one of the things I kind of want to ask is, you know, you've been driving for Team Nissan. Since your teammate is not joining us at the moment, I kind of want to get your thoughts on what you think about what happened this race.
Sure, I mean, the incident with Matt Wing at the beginning is ultimately potentially a higher spot, you know. I think Matt caught a draft right at the start, tried to go for take on Kev, kind of used his the GTR, kind of made sure that Matt Wing could always clipped him slightly, lost control, and come back into Kev somehow. And Kev then fight his way through traffic to get to the did. I mean, he might fight his way back up 3rd place. I think he would have given a good run for his money. He hadn't had to make it that time. I think he was probably instantly about 10 seconds plus behind and then beat all the traffic. So, you know, finished 12 seconds down somewhere around. Really, I think that could have been done really well in the car, considering tuning is prohibited to, you know, get that GTR around the track like pace has. So definitely proud of him. Props to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Props to Kev. You know, it's a shame that that happened. I'm sure he's not feeling too great right now. Send my regards to him. You know, he did an awesome job. He's a really great driver, and I hope to see him next season as well.
Sure. Let's have a party then, boys. Let's get the drinks out. Time to celebrate.
Yeah. All right. I have my Safeloy here. Get some interview with you. Haven't gotten an interview with Safeloy. You there?
You're muted. Let's have a look. Even that.
Safeloy.
Guessing not.
All right. While we wait on Safeloy, PKMZ, you there?
Yeah, I am.
Hey, PK.
Oh.
So, finished 5th this round, but you've been a fairly consistent driver, showing us some really interesting strategies throughout the whole season. How you feeling about the overall season 1 of the championship?
I'm happy with what I did. You know, obviously the car wasn't probably the most optimal, you know, the best car in the field, but I think I did well with it regardless. Overall.
Oh yeah, for sure. And do you think with where you finished in the season that you've possibly put in your best result, or do you think you could have done better?
I'd say there's probably some parts where I messed up, especially the end of today's race. I went into sand a bit, but I could have done better overall.
Yeah, you've been a really good driver over the whole entire season, and I think one of the key things is that you've been super consistent, and it's been awesome to watch you race. And I hope to also see you next season, man.
Oh, thanks.
All right. So I'll get some words with CJ here. Do you have any plans for? I know we're going to be doing the Le Mans event, um, and maybe Mount Panorama, but has there been any sneak peek news that we can maybe hear about season 2?
No.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
All
hoping
right.
it happens anyway. We'll have to track it down and find out if he's running it, because I want it to happen.
Actually, we're joined with Kev. Hey, Kev.
What's up?
Hey, man. How you feeling?
Getting like real Silverstone 2018 vibes at the moment. Like I know how Lewis Hamilton feels right now.
Yeah, that was when we saw the Mercedes shoot off the line, and Matt Wing tried to avoid you, but he overcorrected a little too much, and he collected you along the way.
Yeah.
It was really unfortunate. Yeah, now this I think this puts you at second place overall in the championship in this final round.
That is correct.
So, it was congratulations. You made that GTR work, and you made that comeback. Real awesome job. How are you feeling coming in and possibly looking towards the next season?
I think we did well, like you said, pretty well considering our car on some tracks. Like, I know personally, I struggled a lot in the first 2 races. Like Austria, I just couldn't make it work. Finished 8th or something in a GTR on that track, so that doesn't really add up if you think about it. Brands Hatch was surprisingly good, like 7th there. Like, in the GTR, you can't really do well on the track, so I was happy with that. And after that, like, it was just a fucking shitstorm towards the end of the season. With like, I think I got like 3 second places in a row, a 6th in Catalonia. Did not really do well there. A win, luckily, in Saint Croix, and 3rd place here. Like after what seemed like a very long race. Yeah. Like I'm feeling like I improved quite a lot overall. Like compared to the first one, I'm doing like times that should not even be possible. Like we have a guy in the community who helps all of us a bit with lap times and shit. And like in practicing for this race, I came really close to his lap time. So yeah, I could see improvement overall.
Yeah,
I'm quite happy with.
It's very awesome to see the improvement. Halfway through the season, we saw a balance of power update into the GTR, made it a little bit stronger, gave it a few more brake horsepower. Do you think that contributed to the GTR as a little bit more successful?
Yeah, I'll remember. Like it was like the 1 or 2 days before the race in Monza, so we all had to adjust again to the new BOP. We got like 13 kilograms more and about 11 horsepower more, I'm guessing. Like you could see it in the lap times, especially around Monza. We were doing about almost 0.2, 0.3 seconds faster, so it definitely helped, but it wasn't really a contributing factor. I think if they hadn't changed anything, we could have still done well.
Okay, that was awesome to see that win, the win at Saint Croix, and challenging for that win at Monza. How do you think season 2 is going to play out?
Hopefully a lot better. I'm already thinking about cars. Like I definitely want to go towards something with more like better tire wear. I'm not driving this bus again, but like we have to keep in mind Alex coming in for a full season, maybe. Like, he could definitely like wipe the floor with all of us. For us, we got some new guys in Tier B that could come over, which were really fast as well. So could be a challenge, but be able to challenge at least for the top 3 again, hopefully.
All right. Well, that's all the time I've got now for interviews. Thank you guys. Thank you for allowing me to participate as commentator and allowing me to join you guys in watching these races. Awesome job to everybody.
Thanks, guys.
And that will conclude your Season 1 of the ARC Championship Series. Thank you all for joining us. And if you have any questions about the league or the community, we have a website at adrenalinracingcommunity.com. If you're not quite sure on the link, just type in Adrenaline Racing Community. It should be there. We do have a website. Feel free to hit up guys like CJ2041, Dan's303, Balk21, CRubennnn. They are the organizers for this entire community. Feel free to ask them, possibly hit them up for a Discord link. Get in the Discord. We'll train you up. We'll figure things out for you. We'll love to have you join us here in the ARC, especially for next season, which will be coming up. We'll have new drivers here in the Tier A from moving up from Tier B. We'll have some drivers that'll be new. They'll just qualify immediately and be fast. So it'll definitely be an interesting one. And again, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure of mine to call these races. And as always, keep racing.